Slither. Slither was released in 2006 and is written and directed by James Gunn and stars Elizabeth Banks, Nathan Fillion and Michael Rooker. And basically, the film tells the story of these slug-like creatures. After this asteroid crashes down on Earth, all these slug-like creatures come out of this asteroid. And long story short, they take over Michael Rooker's character's body. Michael Rooker's character is married to Elizabeth Banks' character in the film, so he doesn't want to harm her in any way. So basically, he goes to other people in the town. He makes it so he infests them with these slug-like creatures. All these people in the town get infested through their mouths and through their stomachs with these slug-like creatures. It's quite squeamish and it is quite gross. But anyway, basically, all these people get invested by these slug-like creatures. At the same time, though, Nathan Fillion's character, who is this police officer in this town, starts to realise something is wrong. And he goes to investigate, and he sees that Michael Rooker's character, who was the first to be infested with these slug-like creatures, has now become this big creature monster within itself, which just is quite gruesome to look at in the film. But anyway, basically, for the course of the film, you basically have Elizabeth Banks' character and Nathan Fillion's character working together to try and stop all these slug-like creatures from infesting the town, and to try and stop Michael's character, but it's too late and he managed to infest the whole of this town with slug-like creatures. And that's the main plot of the film. There's also this story of this young girl in the film, and basically all her family gets infested with slug-like creatures, and she almost gets infested with them because she's in a bath and the slug-like creatures coming up in the bath, and she's almost about to get infested, but she doesn't. Luckily, she's just managed to go away, but she sees how these slug-like creatures, what they do to all these other worlds around them, and this is their first time coming down on Earth. But the main plot of the film was on Michael Rooker's character who gets infested with these slug-like creatures, and the rest of this town in America gets infested with these slug-like creatures. But at the same time, though, Elizabeth Banks' character and Nathan Fillion's character have to work together to try and stop all these slug-like creatures infesting the rest of the world, and they have to try and stop them from getting out of this town, and have to try and stop Michael Rooker's character. And that's basically the plot of the film. And honestly, I wish I liked this film more than I did. I wish I did. I mean, I thought it was really, really enjoyable. But the film is marketed as a horror comedy. And honestly, I never really found it that funny. I mean, there's a few chuckles in the film. I'm not saying it's completely unfunny. When the chuckles came, they were actually quite funny. I was like, oh, okay, that's actually quite funny in the film. But honestly, it wasn't as funny as I wanted it to be. Like, I love Shaun the Dead, another horror comedy. I love that film. I'm going to get around to reviewing it quite soon in this channel. And I also love, Zombieland. And I quite like Zombieland Double Tap. I really like the first Zombieland because that's, a really funny horror comedy, which works really, really well. So it's not just like I like Shaun the Dead because it's British humour in that film. No. I mean, I do find quite a lot of the humour in Shaun the Dead really, really funny. But I also like Zombieland, an American film which has a lot of American comedy in there, which I still think works really, really well. Like the whole stuff with Bill Murray in Zombieland, I just think is genius. But the thing is with Slither, I wanted to laugh so much more than I did, and I think it's really, really enjoyable. And you can clearly tell it's a James Gunn film. Like James Gunn went on to go and direct, Guardians of the Galaxy 1 and 2, and he is directing the new Suicide Squad film, which I'm really excited for. When I heard James Gunn's being attached to the Suicide Squad, I got really excited. But yes, you can tell it's a James Gunn film, and yes, it has those really enjoyable moments. But I just wish it was funnier than it was. And the thing is, though, I must admit, I haven't said this yet, but I must admit, I'm not really a fan of the horror genre, and I haven't watched that many horror films. I mean, I've watched quite a few, and I will give any film a go, but I don't really like the horror genre that much. And so this is all coming from someone who's not a huge fan of the horror genre, by the way. So if you are, you might have a different experience with the film. If you're somebody who watches quite a lot of horror films, you might really, really like Slither. But unfortunately for me, somebody who hasn't watched that many horror films, I just didn't find it as funny as I wanted to. I mean, like I said, there are some chuckles in there, and it has some really enjoyable moments. I can clearly tell it's a James Gunn film. It's got a really good soundtrack in the film. There's, one moment when You're Every Woman in the World to Me. I think that's the song it's called. Playing at one stage, and it's done really, really well, and I really like the use of the music in the film. Like I said, it's got a fantastic soundtrack because it's a James Gunn film, unlike the Guardians of the Galaxy films, which also have fantastic soundtracks. But where I wanted this film to succeed more was in the comedy. Horror comedies can work. Like, I love Shaun the Dead, and I really, really like Zombieland, but I just wish I liked this more. I mean, I don't think it's terrible. I don't think it's bad either. I think it's even moments in the film where it's almost on the verge of greatness. It's almost on the verge of, Shaun the Dead quality. Shaun the Dead quality got excellent towards the end of that film. It's almost on that standard with Shaun the Dead, but I think it's just that level below. Like, you can tell it knows what it wants to be. You can tell that James Gunn obviously knows that this is a horror comedy, and it's having quite a lot of fun making the film. You can tell that that's what this film clearly is. It's not trying to be anything else. I don't feel it's trying to be a horror masterpiece. I don't even feel it's trying to be a comedy masterpiece. I don't feel it's trying to be, top of the comedy genre. But you can clearly tell that, James Gunn, he set out to make a comedy horror film, and that's what he's trying to make. And that's some really good moments in the film, and that's some really good horror moments in the film. Actually, quite squeamish to watch, like, quite something to watch. Quite a lot of horror elements in the film, which work really, really well. But I just wish I laughed more. That's what I'm saying. I mean, I thought it was really, really enjoyable. It was fun whilst it was on. But honestly, I didn't find it as funny as I wanted to. The performances were really fun. You can clearly tell everyone on screen having a lot of fun with themselves, particularly Michael Rooker's character, who was the character I laughed at the most in the film. And you can clearly tell that, you know, everyone's having quite a lot of fun in the film, but honestly, I just wish I found it more funny. I don't think it's bad, but I don't think it's particularly brilliant either. And I did laugh a few times, but not nearly as much as I wanted to. So for that reason, someone who's not really a fan of the horror genre, although has watched a few horror films, but not a fan of the horror genre, I'm going to say that Slither is a 7 out of 10. The thing is though, I think if you're a fan of the horror genre, I think you would really enjoy this film, and maybe you'll find more enjoyment in it than I did, and maybe you'll find it more funny than I did. But honestly, from someone who's watching it, who's not really a fan of the horror genre, I wanted to laugh so much more than I did. I chuckled a few times, but there's no moments like in Shaun the Dead or Zombieland where I laughed out loud, and I wanted that feeling of this is a proper horror comedy, and I never felt that, to be honest, with Slither. And maybe I'll go back and revisit it, and maybe I'll like it more than I did watching it the first time, but honestly, I felt that tinge bit of disappointment in this film, because I didn't laugh as much as I wanted to. I think it's a lot of fun. I think it is really enjoyable. I do think it succeeds in quite a lot of horror elements of the film. I just wished I laughed more. And so for that reason, I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10 from me. Anyway guys, what do you think of Slither? Do you love it, do you hate it, or have you just not watched it? If not, why not? Please do comment down below and let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Anyway guys, thank you as always for watching. If you haven't yet, please do click down below and like, subscribe on this video, and look forward to many more both film and TV views coming very soon on this channel. See you guys again soon, but bye for now. Bye!